Jake arrives in the plaza, and there's a lot more corpses there. They are the bodies of the VIP guests, the ones that remained there when things went south. Jake suddenly hears a sort of police alarm. He looks in the direction of the sound and sees a robot guard coming out of the health factory. Our protagonist sees the robot as his weapons drawn, and he realizes he found the culprit. He ducks under one of the little benches in the plaza in the hopes that the robot will not see him there. Oh. Okay, this is... Oh, this might be good. Please. Oh, it's moving a lot. I don't know. This one? That one? No. It's really moving a lot, folks. I am not making a PewDiePie out of this. I'm not playing it up. It's actually... Oh, that's not bad. Okay, I think we're safe now. Okay, we did it! We did it! As Eleanor and Jake make their way towards the mainframe, they suddenly see a red glow, like a big eye. And it appears from behind the darkness. So at the end of the hallway, there's suddenly this glow. They both freeze in their tracks and start looking around them. Eleanor spots a little green dot above her head. It's just a security camera, she thinks to herself. They hear footsteps coming towards them. As she closes the gap between herself and the mainframe door, she can feel her heart pounding in her ears. This is the moment of truth. Hello and welcome back to the escape from Ermin Black's tower, or the story of the Cyber Dragon. A story I'm telling you using CRGE, which allows you to play role-playing games solo, mixed with Dread, a game that uses a Jenga tower, like this one, or you know, any tower made of blocks, to create tension in an RPG. These are two systems I like very much, and so I've been combining them and making this little series. Today we're at the final episode. So to recap in broad strokes, this is the story of three people. You have Jake, who is a barman. You have Eleanor, who is a model, who is also kind of a drug addict. And you have Father Zorg, who is a guru. They all came to Ermin Black's party in a giant penthouse in the cyber city of the future. You can think of Cyberpunk or Blade Runner, or I don't know, Hunger Games. But some sort of robotic monster, the Cyber Dragon, attacked the tower. We don't really know why. And now our three characters are simply trying to get out. In the previous episode, Eleanor discovered that she needs to get to the mainframe to enable the door to unlock. We also saw that Father Zorg had a weird episode happen, like something took control of him. So we haven't seen much of him since. And we left off when Jake was going into the health floor trying to find a way to heal his arm, but he encountered a security robot. Today, we'll start with Eleanor. But before we do that, I need to adjust the Jenga tower. Because between the first episode and the last one, we pulled 21 blocks, which is quite a lot. The tower is going to be very unstable. And if you don't remember, if the tower falls during a character's turn, that character might die right away, or they'll eventually die, or leave the story in another way. So I want to keep that tower up and all of my characters alive if I can. Let's remove those blocks first of all. Alright. One, two, three. I'm not doing a particular order. I'm trying to go kind of random. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I've been pretty lucky so far because the tower did not fall, but I expected it to fall on this episode. 12, 13, 14, 15, I think. I hope I'm not forgetting some. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That should be 21. Okay, well, this is kind of insane because I feel like I'm already gonna struggle just finding pieces I can remove. So, okay, this is gonna be extra tense right away. I guess that's good since it's a horror story. Eleanor opens the door to the health floor and peeks inside stealthily. She can hear some footsteps in the atrium ahead, so she remains careful. When she suddenly hears a strident police alarm, her heart seems to jump in her chest. She freezes for a second, then she goes to the edge of the hallway, where it becomes the atrium, to see what's happening beyond. A robot guard is rolling around in the center of the atrium, as if it was searching for a suspect. And there are also lots of cadavers strewn around the place. This doesn't seem to bode well. My first question is gonna be, are there functioning cameras in the atrium? Because if that robot guard is able to tap into the cameras, he'll probably find Eleanor as well. I'm not so worried about Jake for the moment since he's hiding, but I am worried about her. So let's see. Are there functioning cameras? It's 33. It would seem all the cameras are out of service. Perhaps they didn't want to record the massacre. Whoever is responsible for it. My second question, is there a computer terminal near Eleanor? I'm asking that because Eleanor is actually pretty good with computers. So maybe she could help take out the robot if there's one, or do any sort of thing. But before I get ahead of myself, let's just see if there's one. So it's a 45 minus 2, 43. Another no. Okay, And my final question, does Jake notice Eleanor from where he's hiding? If he knows she's there, then maybe they can coordinate. We have our first special result, a 98 plus 4 in search tokens means we are in 100. So we kept out at 100, which means it's a yes and unexpectedly. When you get a yes and unexpectedly, you have to roll a d20 and then refer to the relevant table. Let's see what I get. And our result is a 5. Interesting. So a 5 is key grip, which, let's see. Set the location or general elements for the next scene. The current scene should then start wrapping up and heading towards the next scene. Interesting. I mean, this is a bit cryptic because it really does seem like... I mean, I would have expected this scene to be a little longer, but I know exactly how to make sense of this result. So I'll just say that Jake notices Eleanor. He's hiding and he sees, oh, that beautiful girl I was trying to flirt with, or thinking about flirting with. She's still alive! Miracle. But just as this happens, the security robot kind of gives up his search and he starts heading for the hallway from which Eleanor came from. So Eleanor will have to pull a piece to see if she can quickly hide from his sight before she gets spotted, and well, we'll see what happens when we get there. Let's pull a block. Oh boy. Just imagine if it falls now. I would be so sad for her. Okay. Look how it moved. I really didn't make it easy for myself, didn't I? The trick is to just push a tiny bit on the pieces you think might be good. But even just pushing a little bit there is making everything wobble very badly. Oh, there we go. That shouldn't work. Oh, okay. And there we have it. Woo! Eleanor manages to quickly hide behind a tall flower pot full of genetically engineered, exotic-looking plants, and the robot rolls right past her and into the stairwell, and you can hear him like clanking along as he descends each step. Jake breathes a sigh of relief and moves out of his hiding place. Eleanor seems startled when she sees him, but he quickly reassures her. "I'm the barman from earlier. And you must be that woman that was with that old guy. Yep, I guess that's me. Oh, it's so good to see a familiar face. I feel like this place is falling apart. Yeah, there's some kind of giant robot roaming around here. And judging from the state of the penthouse, it's hungry for blood. Do you think it killed all the people here? She asks, looking pale. I don't know. It looks like these people got shot, while the ones upstairs were crushed or sliced to bits. Plus, there were broken robots too, yet this one looked hostile. So now we have two kinds of robots to watch out for? Says Eleanor. Great, says Jake in a defeated tone. Oh, you're bleeding, exclaims Eleanor, noticing Jake's arm. Jake explains how he must have broken his arm when the big robot impacted, and that he nicked it on a piece of glass while trying to get through a broken door. The door to the health factory is completely shattered, allowing for easy entry. Eleanor helps Jake climb into a surgical pod. Then she turns on the machine. But my question is she allowed access? Is it really gonna be that easy to heal Jake? Or are we going to have to make it work? Oh yeah, and those search tokens go away. Oh, wow, we have a crazy kind of luck today. Look at that, 97. So, this is not a yes and unexpectedly. We have instead yes, but. Which means there's gonna be a little bit more to it. The screen turns on as usual, but Eleanor is greeted by a level 1 security lock. You know, instead of the sleek medical screen all white and blue, looking friendly, it's like a big red box in the middle of the screen. Security lockdown, require level 1 security lock. Please contact security for more information. And there's a little light that blinks for a card reader. So I'm gonna ask the question, is there a security guard among the cadavers? Maybe we can just search among the dead people and we'll get what we need. Hopefully. And we have a 54, which is a great result. Eleanor asks Jake to stay put, and with the pain in, he's happy to oblige. She walks among the cadavers, turning her head this way and that way, frankly trying to find a hint of an insignia or the characteristic blue of a uniform. Finally, she sees the body of a man in a black sports jacket, wearing one of those earpieces. His white shirt is shot with holes and drenched in blood. Like the other cadavers, he stinks. Eleanor is disgusted by the sight and smell of this man. It's hard to find the courage to stare at him, and even harder to summon the bravery to search his pockets. I will pull one time for Eleanor to muster that courage. And hopefully it won't be the last thing she does, cause that would be very unfortunate. Okay, please don't die. It's moving so much, people. Please Don't blame me if it falls. Well, you could, but like, it's way. Oh, yeah. No, not that one. It's way unstable right now. I feel like I'm scared just touching it. Maybe this. Okay. Okay. Sheesh. So Eleanor fights through the disgust and she manages to find the security card inside the jacket. I want to ask, does she also find a gun? Because that might come in handy. Well, sadly, with a 48 minus 246, it won't be enough. She doesn't find a gun. The closest thing she finds is a broken taser that looks like a cattle prod. Sadly, it doesn't look like there is even a spark left in it. She comes back to the surgical pod and gets it started thanks to the security card. She selects a routine, limb restoration procedure. And after a few minutes, the pod opens up to reveal a much relieved Jake. Yes, we saved him. For now. Thank you so much, Eleanor. For a moment there, I thought I would meet the same fate as those other people in the hall. Well, don't celebrate too fast. I met one of the guards earlier, and he told me we'll stay locked in this building unless we can get to the mainframe underground below. We cut away to a news broadcast. So you can see a hot-looking reporter lady standing in the street in front of a camera crew, and you can just imagine the viewpoint, just like if you watch CNN, MSNBC, or any kind of corporate news. Police informs us that Herman Tower has been unresponsive for the past 2 hours. The reclusive billionaire's high-tech building that advertises itself as the world's safest luxury residence, yet tonight its millions of security sensors have been quiet. Footage is circulating on social media that shows a party was going on shortly before the blackout. Furthermore, we can clearly see a large impact happened on the top floor, as part of the topmost structure has collapsed. Our informants tell us the police has made its way inside the building, but they are unable to reach the upper floors. Also, helicopters have been sent to circle overhead, but officers are unwilling to enter via this side from fear of triggering further collapse. WCN Nightly News, this is Jessica. Now we go back to the duo. Eleanor and Jake are slowly making their way down the stairs, careful not to run into the security robot again. They are going for the mainframe, but they're being careful. So I want to ask, can they hear the security robot from the entrance to the security floor? Let's see. And we have 38 minus 4, 34. Thankfully, 34 is a no. Unable to hear the characteristic rolling of the robot, Eleanor and Jake enter the security corridor. The place is very dark. You can imagine like in an office where it's mostly dark, and then once in a while in a doorway there's just a little band of light that cuts through the darkness. That's kind of how it looks like, and you can't really see that far. So it goes to the left and to the right, like, you know, in an L shape, and there's markings on the wall. So to the left is the mainframe, and to the right, in a smaller corridor that's still very dark and still, you know, probably 30 meters deep or something like that, is a backup generator. So do they decide to go to the generator first? So we have 36 minus oh, I think I forgot the search token. So minus 6, 30. 30 is a no. Jake whispers, "No point in going to the generator. We'll need power to turn off the security lockdown." So the two of them start making their way down towards the mainframe. I have two questions. First, are there security cameras? Let's see. I got 90 plus 10, which is 100. We have a yes and unexpectedly, which I'm not too thrilled about. So I will roll a d20. Please be good. And look, it's a 12. 12 is entering the red. Of danger or combat arrives. The premise of the scene gets more dangerous in a way that forces the player characters to respond by leaving, fighting, or taking their chances. Ah, crap. Alright, I think that calls for a change in lighting. Well, so my second question would have been, do they encounter someone or something on the way there? But since we got entering the red, then I'm changing my question to, do they encounter Father Zorg? We have a 57, and spoiler alert, it's a yes. As Eleanor and Jake make their way towards the mainframe, they suddenly see a red glow, like a big eye, and it appears from behind the darkness. So at the end of the hallway, there's suddenly this glow. They both freeze in their tracks and start looking around them. Eleanor spots a little green dot above her head. It's just a security camera, she thinks to herself. They hear footsteps coming towards them. Eleanor and Jake look at each other, and they notice an open door not far behind them. They quickly go inside, and Eleanor immediately tries to electronically lock the door. So while Eleanor is trying to, you know, make a little keypad, a little terminal in the wall next to the door work, Jake looks around to see where they are, and he notices they are in some kind of armory. There are gun racks everywhere, but no guns are immediately obvious. I will start by doing one pull for Eleanor to shut the door. Okay. Once again, this is getting really tense, people. Not only in the story, but the Jenga tower itself. And one wrong move could kill Eleanor right now. Oh, please. Alright, I am allowed to take from... Oh, jeez. If I can... Oh my gosh, okay. Okay. It's done. That was pretty scary. But it's done. Phew, okay. Does Jake notice there is a secret door in this room? Well, sadly, 42 is a no. Using the keycard for a second time, Eleanor manages to shut the door. I don't know what that was, but I don't think that was a friend. I know, replies Jake, but we're in a weapons locker, so there's got to be something we can arm ourselves with. So they start looking around, and I wonder, can they find a good weapon? I'm pretty sure they're gonna find some kind of weapon if they dig, if they search enough. But is it gonna be good? Let's see what the loom says. Well, with a 29 minus 2, looks like it's gonna be a garbage weapon. Because, of course, it's a no. Our two protagonists can't find any kind of gun. The only thing available are those cowl prods, like the dead bodyguard had on himself. So that's what they grab, and they can hear someone trying to force the door open. Whatever it is slamming into the door, making it shake and whine with a shrill metallic sound. Does the entity or the enemy manage to get the door open? Ooh, we are getting a different kind of result. Because this is a 10 and a 13 minus 4 is a 9. That might be good for us, since it's a no end. The person keeps slamming into the door for a little while, but it won't budge. The noise eventually stops. Then Eleanor and Jake can hear footsteps moving away. Listen, Eleanor. Whoever that was seems to be guarding the entrance to the mainframe. We could always try using one of those shock sticks on them, but I have the intuition that they can't be all that good if that was the only weapon left here. If we see that red light again, I'll start running to distract it while you head for the mainframe and get the exit open. Eleanor looks him in the eyes. Then she nods silently, with a terrified look on her face. She gets the door unlocked, and Jake slowly cracks it open. He whispers, "I'll go first, to make sure everything is clear." So he peers out, and I'm gonna ask, can Jake see the red light again? So we have a 63, 67. Of course, that is a yes. Oh boy. Oh boy, people, if you're not feeling stressed right now, I don't know how you do it, because I am. I genuinely don't know what's gonna happen. I know vaguely what they have to do to get the exit open, but I don't know what I'm gonna roll. I'm not sure they're gonna make it alive from then on. So I'll do my best. Eleanor sees Jake disappearing into the hallway, while she stays behind the door. After a few seconds, she sees him running past the entrance, followed by a large and slightly slower figure that she immediately recognizing as that of Father Zorg. As she slinks into the hallway, she can hear the men running up the stairwell. As she closes the gap between herself and the mainframe door, she can feel her heart pounding in her ears. This is the moment of truth. She enters a large server room, organized in a circle around what looks like an oversized supercomputer. She is startled for a second when she sees multiple red lights. But those are smaller than Zorg's, and they are mounted at the end of long black stalks that connect to a large dark mass. Holy crap! It looks like a huge huddled beast. The glow coming off the thousands of blinking LED indicators present in the room make its body glisten like metal. It seems to be somehow interfacing with the supercomputer. My question is going to be, is the body of the bodyguard from episode 2 from the last episode, is it nearby? Because, you know, he went to the mainframe but never came back, so... And we have 39 minus 6, 33. This is obviously a no, so I will assume it's further away. Eleanor spots the corpse of the bodyguard on the other side of the room. It looks like he was brutally beaten. But she spots his pistol not far from him, next to one of the servers. It's gonna be tough to get there though. Does she attempt to lift the security lock from the nearest terminal? We'll see. Doesn't mean it's gonna work though. Oh, and I almost forgot to add another surge from last time. So we have, well, 0 there and 7. So we are at 1 basically. Maxes mins out to 1. So of course, perfect timing. We get a no and unexpectedly. So I will throw a d20. Whoops, overthrew that one. And what do you know? We get another 5. But honestly, there's no other scene after that. So, sorry everyone, but this time I'm going to reroll. Oh, we get a 20. Ah, darn. 20 would be a reroll. Okay, well, another reroll. Sorry, guys. So, reroll. And that time it's a 14. This is a montage. The time frame of the scene changes to a montage of actions set across various scenes to move forward. Interesting. Interesting. Sure, I know how I'm gonna adapt this. We cut to Jake. He's running for his life and he's moving down the hallway to the atrium on the health floor. And of course, Father Zorg is behind him. He'll do one pull to outrun Father Zorg and find a spot to hide. If I can do it, of course. Okay, I'm just gonna try up there. Oh my gosh, I barely touched it. Oh, I'm not feeling this, people. I'm sorry, everyone. If it falls now, I did my best to save him. I will still try my hardest, though. Pull this one. Oh, oh. Okay. Oh my gosh, even just placing it is scary. Okay. Awesome. Jake pulls it off. Now we cut back to Eleanor. She's trying to make her way to the gun. So she's kind of crawling on the ground, hoping that the dragon's eyes don't spot her. Okay, here we go again. Oh, I really don't want Eleanor to die. Okay. Okay. Oh. Oh, I don't know about that. Oh, no, I can't. This one is like the cornerstone. Ah, jeez, people. This is getting impossible. Eleanor is so fricked. Fuck. Why? Fuck. Oh. Oh, I feel like it's gonna fall though. Oh my god, okay. 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 Ah. I feel like that was the last push, pull, or second to last. I don't see how we can last much longer. But hey, they both did it, so let's see what happens. Father Zorg, or what's left of him, arrives in the middle of the atrium. With his heat-seeking third eye, he scans the surroundings, but isn't able to find anything. When he's about to give up on the search, he gets ordered to come back to the hallway to guard the stairwell. So he just pulls back a bit and sits in front of the stairwell. So if Jake tries to go past him, well, he won't be able to. Back to the server room, Eleanor makes it to the gun undetected. As she crouches up behind a terminal desk, she hears the whir of a guard robot. One of them just entered the mainframe room. From where she is, she can clearly see the head of this cyber dragon of sorts. It's a sleek black triangle whose apex ends in a kind of thick, prehensile fiber optic cable that's plugged into the supercomputer. This makes the beast look like an oversized mosquito. Maybe if she uses her cattle prod on that cable, the monster will lose its hold on the building's electronics. Well, there's no time to think of a better plan. since the guard robot is making its way to her side of the room. I guess this is it, she thinks to herself. Alright everyone, victory or death has never been so close at hand. With just one little pull, I can get Eleanor to zap the cyber dragon in the mouth. And hopefully get it to unplug from this whole smart building. But is she going to lose her life in doing so? Well, it's up to me to pull carefully. But as I said before, it's getting more and more impossible to prevent a fall. Ah, jeez. This is not going to be easy. Moves incredibly too much. Oh no. Okay. Okay, no. Not that one. Oh my gosh. Okay, it moves so much. People, I don't know what to say. Oh boy, okay, I'm gonna try the other side, but this is not happening, I don't think. Fuck. Oh my lord, did you see how much it moved? Maybe it doesn't register that well on camera, but it moved a lot. Oh my gosh. Oh no. No. And it looks so janky now. Yeah. Oh my lord. I might have to just do a heroic thing. Might have to just sacrifice her. It's a rule you can do in Dread, where you just decide to make it fall. But I don't know. I wanted her to survive. Okay. People. She's gonna die a hero. Thank you, Eleanor, for your service. If it falls, it's a heroic sacrifice. Well, goodbye, sweet princess. Oh boy. Eleanor stands up and goes straight for the dragon's head. The guard robot notices her and starts firing in her general direction, but she's unfazed. She's moving resolutely with her cattle prod. She sticks it where the cable meets the computer and it immediately sends sparks flying. The red eyes all turn towards her as she approaches, and they tense up when the electrical surge kicks in. "Die, you stupid bastard!" she says before the dragon makes a deadly swipe at her. Back to the news broadcast. Hours have passed, and dawn has started to break. The hot reporter is now commenting on images of the police wheeling out the few survivors they could find. First, there is Jake. She says, "According to our inside source, the young man is one of 2 sole survivors that were found inside the building. He was found by police hiding in a surgery pod on the upper floors, and he claims he was hiding from a madman chasing him. He has been sent to the hospital. The second survivor is an older man that has been identified as the celebrity and spiritual leader, Dr. Zorgenstein. Police found him in a state of shock just prior to finding the young man. Likewise, he has been sent to the central hospital. Police says they can't rule out either man as potential suspects. We have yet to receive more information on the events that transpired here in Herman Black's tower last night." As Jessica is about to sign out, you can see a dozen military trucks pulling up in the background. Then a door opens and a non-commissioned officer gets out, and then he goes towards the camera like this to order them to stop rolling. And so the case is passed on to the military, and it's quickly shut down. And in a week, no one is talking about it. The end. So, thank you all for watching. For those who watched all the episodes up to the finale, I hope you enjoyed this story. I think it was a pretty good success. I'm really happy with that last episode. And so in the future, I definitely want to make more role-playing and solo RPG little videos. I think I'm gonna do a format that's a little bit quicker than those long videos that are long to make, even longer to edit. But yeah, anyway, I have ideas for this new year, and I hope you'll be there to see how it goes. So anyway, love you all, and see you in my next video. Bye!